That's an awesome Buddha ball. It's a wealthy Buddha ball. I'll talk about it. And I'm going to talk about The Genesis Key by James Barney and Graham Swift, The Light of Day.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it The Light of Day?
It says last orders on the back, but
Oh.
the finesse cover for another of his focuses.
Yeah. So I'll talk about these really quick, and then I'll let James talk because he wants to talk. So the Buddha bowl, this one I had, I don't know, 5 in the morning or something, and this is my leftovers from it. So it has yam and green lentils and rice and pomegranates and those little kalets or whatever they're called. And
Oh, they're awesome.
yeah, they're awesome.
Whoever came
So
up with that
awesome. And
genius.
then the sauce I made is a mixture of tahini and like maybe a tablespoon for a bowl this size of tahini, and then 3 limes juiced, and then 4 cloves of garlic raw and whirred up, so they're all in a sauce. And you could put more water to make them more saucy, but I didn't.
So that's a technical expression, word up.
No.
I like it. So you put it in a food.
Yeah, I put it in the whatever.
I'm glitching on the term too.
Mincy blade.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Food blender or something. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, and walnuts. I put walnuts in here too.
Awesome.
So I'd looked up a list of good luck food for New Year, and there's green vegetables, lentils, long noodles, pomegranates, fish, nuts, golden fruit like tangerines and mandarin oranges, and grains and grapes and corn, and I guess rice in particular, so I use the brown basmati, and the green vegetables are like leafy greens, and so I use the little kalets. And then I also steamed some cabbage, the big cabbage leaves. And so how I ate this is I mixed up all of the stuff in there, and then I put a few spoonfuls of whatever onto the cabbage leaf, and I rolled it up like a little burrito, and I ate it that way, and it was awesome.
Now, these lucky foods, how did you decide they were lucky foods? They all seem healthy.
They came off of the internet, these foods. This is a list of top 10 lucky foods.
Now, most of them, except maybe for rice, seem to be healthy.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to comment on.
Yeah.
If you eat these lucky foods, you'll be healthy. This is an excellent Buddha bowl.
So,
I mean, mind you, I put the yam in because I wanted the orange color. But I also ate this with clementines and mandarin oranges this morning, and it was great.
Yeah.
So
someone once said, you make your own luck.
Yeah.
Here, I guess Pauline, I don't make
with the Buddha bowl.
my food. Sometimes
No.
I'll prepare it, but Pauline makes my luck.
Yeah.
And she's made her own luck.
Well, what I've been doing lately is cooking the yams in the very early morning. So I get up several times in the night. And so what I did is I washed the yams one of the times I got up, and then I stuck them in the oven another time I got up. And so then because they take a while to cook. So then the rest of the stuff I just made once I got up at my regular time. I don't know, maybe it was 4:30 or 4. So, and yeah, it's worked out really well.
Now these yams ordinarily wouldn't take as long as these yams have taken.
Well, these
to
ones
cook.
are
These
humongous.
huge. You could almost play football with them.
Yeah, but James likes eating them whole like that.
I do.
So,
Although I didn't realize, that it takes. I wasn't thinking about it.
it doesn't matter.
I wasn't as though I said, "Hey, like I like the yams this way,
Yeah.
no other way." It's just like you notice I like them that way.
Yeah.
If it's easier the other way, so you should cook it.
No, it's fine.
Anyway,
I like it doesn't matter. In the winter, if you have the oven on, what's the big deal? You're heating the house anyway.
Exactly. And it's not as though, You got the heat blasting in your house.
All right, so I'm going to talk about this one first, which was awful. This book was awful. So awful.
That you.
Yeah, I couldn't stand this novel. Boring. I think the only reason it was published was that the main character does a lot of cooking and cooking talk. I hope I never read anything by this author again.
Yeah.
It
So
was that bad.
We've noticed with
So
books.
Like, it says on the cover, a
Bad.
novel by the author of the Booker Prize winning blah, blah, blah.
Booker prizes.
And I'm like, gosh.
Get lost.
So
I can't
bad.
stand you,
How
Booker
can
and Diller prizes.
this guy win a prize? He's awful.
It's because they
Awful
all
writing.
know each other. It's all.
Nobody
it's all
wants to read
nepotism.
that.
It's all in the family, except when they now what they're doing is they're giving them to people of color.
Okay,
Just
so
automatically.
James Barney is an attorney and former submarine officer in the U.S. Navy. He lives outside of Washington, D.C. with his wife and 2 children. The Genesis Key is his first novel. Wow! I have to say, holy cow! James Barney, this is a great novel. There were a few mistakes, like I go along and I circle them. I didn't circle the first one, but then I started circling them because I'm like, oh my god. But there's only a few. I'll read what I wrote in here. Excellent. There were a few mistakes and some things were not believable at all. Sargon was climbing a rope with a shot shoulder. Really?
Okay,
The constant running for Kathleen's life was exhausting to read. And Kathleen was stuck in my typical nightmare. That's my nightmares. This is when I dream. That's usually what it is. I'm running away. Somebody's trying to kill me.
No.
Running, hiding. Running, hiding. It's exhausting.
Right now, it
still-
must be a lot of dreams about Jason Kenney and Justin Trudeau with COVID.
No,
eh?
I don't have.
Hey, let me
Still,
feed you some
this
COVID.
was one of the most interesting action adventure novels I've read.
Well,
Very good. Very original. Sort of
first
thing.
time out.
Yeah, and I mean he obviously did a lot of research into a lot of things. I wouldn't have expected that from a submarine officer. I'd expect him to write a book about submarines or something, and
Oh,
it
well,
might be a
yeah.
really good one.
That might be almost like operating a plane. I think there'd be several cuts above Marines and just regular soldiers. Grunts or whatever they're called. I was wondering why you were enjoying it because
So good.
when you were mentioning submarine, I heard Marine, and I'm going, Marine? Actually, they don't even read books, I think.
And well,
They just write books.
James he didn't believe that the guy would be named Sargon, which is funny. You know, like I've been picking out these books, and like this one has a character named Pauline and one named Mira in it. And the books that I pick out, they all have something to do with, they remind me of things of my life or something. And it's weird, you know, like this one here, one of the characters' name is Sargon, and he's working around in...
It's in modern times, though, right?
Yeah, and 20 years ago or whatever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So
it
I was just
not
saying,
way
back in the day,
Yeah,
no one would have been called Sargon because
Sure.
it means the true king.
okay, but you don't think nowadays, you think they'd be called Sargon just fine? I have no idea.
I don't know. It depends on where you're at. I mean,
But
if it
he's
was
in
like,
Iraq.
oh
So,
my God, could
um,
be. I mean,
Anyway, and James, a lot of his research is based
about
in
Sargon
Iraq.
the Second.
Yeah, and
But
so,
also Sargon. I've done some stuff that on Sargon the Great. I think you'd call him Sargon Zero. Sargon the First was an Assyrian, apparently a very well, basically a non-entity. You can't really say a very non-entity. Very non-entities. Anyway, it's just a name basically in the king list.
ugh. So anyway, I'm supposed to be writing up James's research. That's what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Well, that's what you're figuring.
Yeah. I think that's what the angels are trying to tell me to do. Get his research typed up. So, anyway, you wanted to talk about COVID.
Well, here's something.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about COVID. I don't want to have to. I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
This hash should have been settled 2 years ago.
That's right.
More than 2 years ago.
We were
the
saying
Chinese
right away.
People's
we were
Republic
saying,
of China
You gotta close the borders.
should have reported this. I suspect late November, maybe even earlier, whenever they found out about it.
Yeah.
Not 2010, not 2020, but 2019. That's why it's called COVID-19.
Yeah.
They should have reported it. Who should have said every country in the world should close its borders, not just with China, but with every other country in the world.
It's not to protect your people in your own country. It's to protect everyone.
It's to protect everyone.
That's the thing. You know, I see these signs. Your mask protects me. My mask protects you. Don't put those signs up anymore. Because
each mask protects
obviously
everyone in the world.
Don't care about other people.
They don't.
So they're not going to wear their mask if it's only going to protect other people. The fact is every mask protects everyone.
Every mask protects everyone.
Yeah.
Not from COVID-19, but from its progeny. I've been emphasizing, Pauline has been emphasizing this for almost 2 years now. You got all sorts of, I'm restraining myself, sphincters. But you know what I'm saying. Because you know them.
They're aggressive propagandists.
They're saying, and you can tell they're sphincters when they say this, that we've got to learn to live with COVID.
We won't learn to live with it because COVID is not, it's not going to say, okay, I'll go along with that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm just going to kick
We're not going to get
back
COVID on board.
Kill 17,000 people every half a year in England.
No.
Yeah, wow.
What that really means
awesome.
is we're going to have to learn to die with it. Die from it.
Yeah,
that's what that means. So,
yeah, that's like saying peaceful coexistence.
Yeah.
With the commies back in the day. They were saying peaceful coexistence, but what they were doing was they're infiltrating all sorts of people into Vietnam, so on and so forth.
And well, really, I mean, with all of this talk of, climate crisis and whatever, you know, the problem is overpopulation. And
yes, it is.
I think that that's really what the governments are working towards. They know that it's overpopulation, and they're like, well, you know, if we can get rid of some of the old people.
Who cares about old folks?
People
and
who
apparently not many.
Have immunity problems or whatever, maybe that's a good thing. Because, I mean, it is overpopulation. They know it, right? And so they're doing things like, where was it? Germany, where they came up with edible bus passes or something right now? Why would you come up with that?
Well,
during COVID, are you trying to kill homeless people or something, or really
people
dumb
have to use transit?
People, or anybody who uses transit. Honestly,
poor people.
So really, it's I think that the governments have decided, okay, well, if we kill some poor people off, and really, I mean, with our government's plan to
that's Alberta. Correct.
I'm talking about federal. I'm talking about the daycare situation.
Okay.
With them pushing daycare, who's using daycare?
Poor people.
Poor people. So who are they trying to kill off?
Poor people.
Poor people.
And that's the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, if you look at communists back in, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You're. I probably have food all over because I was so excited.
I don't think they could have seen it. But
it doesn't matter to me. But anyway, I shouldn't be laughing because this is serious stuff we're talking about.
It's deadly
serious.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk about the communist aggressive propagandists back in, I don't know,
all the way along.
Not quite 100 years ago or whatever, but a while ago. They were talking about how poor people shouldn't have children. That was one of their big soapbox speeches. And I think that a lot of communists today feel the same way. A lot of aggressive propagandists, sort of communists. And
definitely poor white people.
Yeah. But no, it's everyone. It's poor people. They just don't like them.
Well, really, they don't. I mean, they're going around saying, we love people of color.
Because really, they think,
they don't care.
they think that they are superior. They think that the aggressive people like them that are eager to exploit other people are, I don't know, somehow aggression might makes right or something. I don't know. It's sad.
Well, some of them are mighty motor mouths, the
Yeah.
propagandists.
Yeah. And I mean, you see them, and it's like, okay, well, what are they? They're not even working for themselves. They're just exploiting other people, really.
They don't really
And
work.
no, they don't really work. So, what value do they have? Honestly, if you're looking at who's expendable in society,
Well, ultimately, it's people who don't get vaccines. Why they should be treated in emergency.
well, I heard that they're not being treated in emergency.
Anti-vaxxers?
I heard that they're being let die.
Where?
I heard it from two people. I heard it from a nurse
Okay.
that they're just letting people. She was upset about it.
Okay.
That they were just letting people die. And I heard it from somebody else who heard it from a different nurse.
Anti-vaxxers? And where was this
The
exactly?
person who heard it from a different nurse, they were happy about it. They were like, and the nurse that they heard it from, they were happy about it too. They were like, well, we're just going to let them die.
Well, they should be let to die. They should not be gumming up our systems.
Anyway.
The thing is, if you want to be an anti-vaxxer, go off and live in the countryside. Don't mingle with other people. Be free. We want to be free too of you. Get lost. So,
Anyway, you were talking about how this
well, I did want
variant.
to. Well, I wanted to talk about. I was mentioning it's like peaceful coexistence. But what it reminds me more of is appeasement. What's happening is, like Neville Chamberlain. Peace in our time. Little settlement with Hitler, I believe it was 1938. And I think it was relatively late 1938. And a year later, it's war in our time. So, 1939. Now, here's the deal. They're talking about, we have to learn to live with COVID. That's kind of what Neville Chamberlain and a bunch of other idiots in Europe and elsewhere were saying. We got to learn to live with Hitler. There's no living with Hitler. There's only dying. And the thing is, you put your foot on his neck as soon as possible. They let him go wild and crazy. And 65 million people died, or thereabouts. One of the people that helped him go wild was Joseph Stalin. How many Russians died as a result of Stalin's canoodling with Hitler? Well, one stat I run across, I don't know how true it is, it might be somewhat inflated, 29.5 million people, Russians. Now, way back in the day, almost 2 years ago, it must have been the first podcast that Pauline put out about this. What was I saying? 50 million people are going to die from COVID. Based on the response around there. I wasn't anticipating them getting a vaccine as early as they did. But, like I keep on hearing different stats. The last time I checked, and it was a long time ago, it was 5 million. Okay, worldwide. I don't think hardly anyone anticipated it being up to 5 million.
But
Now, okay, go ahead.
The vaccines are not actually that good.
They're not
That
what they
should
have to be.
out. No, not
the way
to control
people
it.
are behaving, they have to have 100% efficacy, and everyone's got to get them.
Yeah.
And they
But-
definitely don't have 100%
No.
efficacy.
And-
And it's 70% efficacy, which is hardly any efficacy at all against this new Omicron variant.
Because apparently it is 15 times more virulent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Than the original COVID.
The original
Okay,
COVID.
so we got to be careful here. Here's what I was hearing from an epidemiologist on the radio. It's not just on the radio, because you could be hearing anything, especially from CBC. But, so they were saying the original COVID one person spread it to 2.5 people. Then the Delta variant, 1 person to 5 people. And then they said, well, it looks as though it could be over 6 people. One person spreading to 6 people with the Omicron thing. And what I said to Pauline, unfortunately, we had some cold weather. We weren't able to run the stuff. But what I said right away to Pauline was,
he thought it would
I'm
be 10.
guessing it's going to be at least 1 person spreading it with Omicron. What I said was, oh my God, Omicron. 1 person. I might not have said that to you, but I've said it in that particular occasion. But I was thinking it, and I've said it about Omicron. So that's my pun. But you're welcome to use it. At any rate, it's going to be a minimum of 1 person spreading it to 10. Now, hopefully, anyone who's been following me consistently will recognize that when I give a stat, I try to underestimate. It's not just 10. It's like I try. Because what so many people do is they just
exaggerate.
200,000 people were killed by the firebombing of the Americans in Dresden.
Yeah, that's just who you hear.
When I was a kid,
Because
it was 50,000. And I wasn't it wasn't as though, like people are dying from the effects of the firebombing. What's happening is people are dying from the effects of the lying of the faux gauchers.
I mean, now
I get that out of a textbook, incidentally. 200,000 people, 4 times as many at the 4 times as many.
Yeah, the number just
died.
rose.
I don't know if they had expanded when I was a kid from 1945 to basically 1975. Well, it was earlier than 1945.
Without evidence.
But,
anyway, but you, the viewer, are lucky because in this day and age, although you will hear way, way more from aggressive propagandists than you will from anyone else, because they want you to look at them, you have the option of hearing from other people. James and I are on
we're
the
both
line.
Passive.
I'm on the amiable side, but the amiable analytical line of the DISC.
Amiable or passive, and we're on the right on the line in between the workers and the thinkers, the real creative people. I'm not talking
Physical
about artists that are going around.
and
Oh man, have I thought
workers.
up something wild and
Physical
crazy?
workers and mental workers. So that's
Yeah, that would be a good way
That's
of
a
looking
better
at it. Yeah, we're right on. Like we work hard, but we try to work creative. So here's the deal. What I was hearing, I think it was yesterday, there was an epidemiologist on the radio saying, "Holy smokes, this Omicron thing, it spreads 3 times as fast as the Delta, not the original COVID-19." Now, I might be making a mistake 3 times as fast and saying that's 3 times the Delta and going from 1 person spreading to 5 to 1 person spreading to 15. So we got to be careful. What they should be saying is every day how much it spreads. It's not just 3 times. How many people does each infected person spread this to? So right now I'm reporting it as 15, but I made a bit of a jump that might not be a logical jump, but an illogical jump. Okay, so be careful with it.
all right.
If you do spread it, what I said.
The news, not
Spread it with the caveat that I've given here. Okay?
All right, so I'm going to mention this book again just quickly. I'm going to say that in this book, they're looking at a gene that extends human life, and it comes from before the big flood. And because before the big flood in the Bible, people used to live a long time. A really long time.
According to the biblical
Very,
account.
very, very long time. And then all of a sudden, the flood hits and people aren't living as long. It's 120 years. That's it. That's what it's capped off at.
According to the biblical account.
Yeah, according to the Bible. So, in the book, I'll give a little spoiler alert. They're saying, well, it was a virus, and there's a lot of I guess there's a lot of junk DNA and stuff like that, and so there's a lot of your DNA makeup is like viruses and stuff that aren't plaguing you anymore, or whatever they think. I mean, I think
They decided to hang around and help you?
yeah, I think it's still plaguing you. I mean, I think, but anyway, you just don't know. You don't know when things are going to affect you or how they affect you, and it's like how they used to think tonsils were, and appendixes. They're just extra goods in there. You don't need them.
Expendable.
Right? Get those taken out. But now they realize, oh, they actually serve a function. So yeah, you probably don't want to get rid of them.
I don't think so.
Because frankly, you don't have extra parts. So why would you? Why would you be carrying around extra parts? So in the book, they're saying, well, the life has been cut back, and now they've found this mummy, and they've extracted the DNA, and they can make people's lives, like, extend their lives again and stuff like that. And they don't know how.
Methuselah's age?
Maybe, right? You don't know. They don't know what's going to happen. And then people are like, oh, well, we got to shut this thing down because what's going to happen to pensions and this and that, and it'll be only the wealthy people able to live, and then that'll, like, cause a greater divide between the poor and the rich and this and that and whatever. Anyway, but it ends off really well. I really like the ending. Thank you so much for giving me a happy ending in this story. And all the way along, it was great. And so I think, there's this idea that, oh, well, if what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And no, not necessarily. It might cut back your life from 900 and what was it? Methuselah? He was old, really old. Okay. So
Methuselah lived, according to the biblical account, 969 years. And if you do the checking, the so-called math, the arithmetic, you'll find out that he would have died the year of the flood.
Yeah.
And
well, he was an old guy.
Yeah.
It's tough for old people to survive
to scram to the hills,
right?
Yeah. Maybe he was just a little slow getting into that old ark, but
yeah. Or, it was just hard.
He could have died earlier in the year.
It's stressful for old people.
Adam lived 930 years. I think you were saying in the book there, it said
they listed a whole bunch of people.
Noah lived 950 years.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it didn't bump down to 120 for quite a while. But Moses, according to the biblical account, lived 120 years, 40 years at a time.
And
40
honestly,
years in Egypt,
I'm tired of the CBC. Now they're covering COVID again. Well, they're not even really covering it very well.
No.
And the whole time it's been, how can we distract people away from COVID?
Basically,
so that we don't talk about COVID. We talk about race stuff. We talk about whatever. And it's like, no, the only news is COVID. It's a pandemic. That's the only news. If you're reporting anything else, you're a propagandist. Plain and simple.
You got that, CBC?
That's all you are. And I'm tired of it. I've grown tired of listening to that stuff. It's difficult. It's difficult to take any of it seriously, and it's sad to notice people going along with it. People that I respect.
It's not just even going along. They're just they get marching along.
Yeah.
Marching along, going to demonstrations and all this